Hey everybody, it's Lewis Porter Jr. It is Tuesday the 7th. No, it's Monday the 7th. Good Lord, it's Tuesday already. And I'm doing my next Transparent Agenda, number 2. I think I'm going to talk about something that's important, since a lot of people were asking some questions in a couple boards I was looking at on, like, what do you pay people? What do you expect prices? I mean, that kind of stuff. So I said, okay, I'm going to be transparent. Everybody who already knows this is no big surprise, but I'll tell you all what I pay writers, artists, the whole spiel. And a lot of it's available online on my blog, but I thought I'd do the video to give you all a good perspective also. First and foremost, I'll tell everybody, we're cheap, and I'm not going to feel bad about it. I'm a cheap publisher. I've been a cheap publisher for years. I'm going to stay a cheap publisher, and probably that's going to the way I'm going to die, as a cheap publisher. And a lot of you are saying, wow, that's a pretty bold statement. You're proud of your cheapness. Yes. I'm proud of my cheapness for this important reason. I've been around for, going on like 10 years. Well, no, more than 10. Jesus. More than 10 years doing PDF publishing. And a lot of people who were started when I started didn't make any money and evaporated, disappeared. There's very few people made decent money for as long as I have. And the reason why? I am cheap. I understand what things cost. I understand what they should cost. I understand how many I need to sell. You need to be, I hate saying the word cheap, but you need to be cheap. You got to think, how can I do this cheaper? One of my personal mantras is, how can I do more and more with less and less? Figure out that little puzzle right there, you can rule the world. Seriously, that's it. That's the whole thing. And, right off the bat, writers, we pay 1 cent a word. 1. You didn't mishear me. 1 cent a word. A lot of people say, well, I can't live on that. I know. Hey. If you sold 10,000 copies, you probably get more. But if you can't, 1 cent a word. It's not me being arrogant. It's not me being cocky. It's telling you what is reasonable and realistic. At 1 cent a word, we can make a profit, we can make more products, and we can hire you again for more work. Guys who work with me, usually very happy working with me. But number one, I give you a lot of leeway. Look, you're a writer. You know what you're doing. That's why I'm paying you. If I need to write something that you've written, I have to rewrite something that you've written, you failed. And I wasted my time. So I don't do that. I let the writer be the writer. You go, you get out of the ballpark, boom, you got a job with us for life. And that's how it works. People who've worked with me for a long, long time because, hey, they know I'm going to pay. Usually, depending on how I feel and what's going on, I usually pay when I get the materials. Not always when they publish. Sometimes when they publish. That's like 50% now. But usually, you do the stuff, you get the product, you get the money. Boom. Boom. It's that quick. Because A, I don't like keeping money on my books of, I got this guy's some money and this. I prefer to pay you all to be done. Money's out. Done. Leave you alone. I don't want to deal with it. I paid you. Done. Let's go to the editing stage. And if there's a problem, most people seem to give me a little more leeway because I have paid them in advance, usually. And I usually pay them, before they expect it. I've talked to a lot of professional guys, they don't get paid for 3-4 months down the road, which I never understood that. I think it's best to pay people when you get the stuff because that kind of loyalty, you really can't beat. Where's that book? Since I'm talking about this is going to spin off to some other stuff. Also, artists, how much you pay, Lou? I pay cheap. Cheap. If I can get work for free, I would. I don't feel bad about saying that. If I can find stock art that fits what I'm looking for, which is for me, I'm really picky, it's kind of tough, I'd still use it. I think there's tons of great stock art out there that is at a reasonable price that you can get to make your products look professional. I sell a lovely line called Image Portfolio that is very, very cheap. I'm guessing just about every person who's been in publishing has probably used a piece of my artwork in something. We do fantasy, modern, sci-fi, superheroes. We've got about, like 50 different versions of art portfolios that you can use. I mean, they're out there and free, and I think the average price now is $8 for the black and white and $10 or $9.99 for the color. It's kind of hard to beat. I mean, the color pieces we have, thankfully enough, we've got a lot of good artists. Storm Cook has been very, very kind. Been working with us for a long time with this. And Storm, we have a great relationship, and he gets a great deal out of this. I mean, it's a winning proposition for everybody involved. But once again, we don't pay a lot because we know we're not going to sell a ton. You're not going to sell a ton of PDFs. That's just the way it is. You're not. The old, I guess that's even still the standard today. If you sell 100 copies of anything, that's a great seller. You know, a lot of people won't sell 100 copies. A lot of people won't sell 20 copies. You know, that's something to think about next time you're trying to put out a PDF. You think, oh, everyone will love my stuff. Yeah, it doesn't really work that way. You know, it's a tough business and it's rough and the pay is not great. Oh, and editors? 1 cent a word. Just like writers. Editors and writers, you wordsmith, you get 1 cent a word. That's just the way it goes. Does it sound horrible? Probably. Some people are cursing me out? Probably. But here's the difference. We have a very long list of people that have worked for us who've gone on to do other stuff. Even better, we work with people who work, now a lot of people work with Paizo. I'll start with my favorite, Lee Hammock, who's doing the MMO writing for Goblin Works, aka Paizo. Started working with me years ago when we were doing some fantasy, but we did a lot of Mutants and Masterminds together. I mean, Lee's a great writer, highly inventive. When I heard he was going to be working on the Pathfinder MMO, I was like, that's going to be great. I got nothing to worry about there. That's going to be a great. But I know Lee. Lee's good. Let me rephrase it. Lee's damn good. You know, Owen Casey Stevens has written for me. God, let me see. Tim Hitchcock written for me. Well, Richard Pett is in the process of writing for me. God, who can I think of anybody else? Oh, Neil Spicer wrote for me. You know, it's and then like I said, and then a lot of independent guys who now are publishers, which I think is another part that's funny, have written for me. You know, I said I've been doing this long enough that you see a lot of the people and you see them over and over, and guys like, hey, I'm looking to get a break. I'm always more than willing to give a guy a break. You know, if they got what it takes, they're gonna make it. You know, if you listen to what I say and, you know, follow those simple things I do with this transparency agenda and what I've said on my blog, and, you know, if you just pay attention to that kind of stuff, you can make a decent piece of change on this. You know, I tell people, when I got into this, when I was doing this, a little more aggressive than I am now. Now I'm a little older, a little more refined, a little more focused, and other stuff, but I'm still doing, okay. But when I was like, every week we're getting a product out, you know, the money I made, I paid for my car. You know, I bought my car with my money from RPG Now. So, you know, I bought a car with my money. People ask me, well, what'd you do with your money? I can point to my car. Real simple. So think about that. If you want to get in this business, understand pricing, understand what you can afford to pay people, and it's real simple. It's a real simple formula. Start out small, 2,000 words. On a stock piece of art, you know, 2,000 words cost you $20 for a writer. Edit it yourself if you can, or hire an editor. That's $40. You need to sell. You know, you need to sell it for a reasonable price. So 2,000 words is about 4 or 5 pages of stock art. You could probably charge at the height. You could charge like $199, but really you're gonna charge probably like $129. You know, around that range, $129ish. You're gonna make, if it's good with a good piece of art, you're gonna sell your 50 copies and you get your money back. And then what you're gonna do with that money, you're gonna pay off the guys you got, take whatever left over, put it for the next project, do another $20 one, and keep doing that. It's a very simple formula. Small projects, then build to medium-sized projects, and then build to bigger projects. At my stage, I still do a lot of small projects because I'm interested in small projects. I like small things. You know, like we did our Treasures of Neo Exodus. One weapon, history, weapon, boom, or item, magic item, but weapon usually. Gone. Boom. That's how you do it. And that's a great way to start, because people will make, oh, okay, it's a cool weapon. Oh, it's got a cool history. Oh, we're selling ours for what? $139? Yeah. $1.39? For $1.39, you try it out. If you got something good, you're like, oh, this is great, $1.39, good price. And when it first comes out, it's 99 cents. So you check it out, you get the money, you're like, hey, this is not so bad. And you keep going. And that's it. That's the magic plan. Hold on, let me grab something for everybody. Since this was kind of, I wanted to talk about the money part. I don't know if you guys can hear me. I wanted to talk about the money part, but I really also wanted to talk about the business part. This is one of my favorite books of all time. Some of you might know this person's name, Guy Kawasaki. Guy Kawasaki was a marketing, well, not was, but yeah, was the marketing director for Apple in the early days when it was getting off the ground, becoming the big monster that it is now. But he did a lot of the original marketing and the strategy and the evangelism. He's got several books out. This is the one that I love. It's another book called Rules of Revolutionaries. We'll talk about that at some other time. But this book, one of my favorite books. It's everything in this book is good. There's tons of good ideas. There's tons of just good things you can use for business that will help you just be a better business person. It's gold. You can find this book online through Amazon. If you can get it, just buy it. Don't even think about it. Buy it, read it. You buy it, read it, and do what's in this book. You should be a top player within 6 months. I use the word top player as a top player in third-party publishing for Pathfinder. So, if you do what this book tells you to do, you will be a top player in third-party publishing for Pathfinder in 6 months. I guarantee you. Seriously. I used it. Within 6 months, I was a top player at RPG Now. And we're talking, this is... Let me tell you how it really affected me. I'll tell you, here's some real scary numbers. And this is just me being totally true. In 2002, when we started out, I wasn't making a ton of money doing this. It was early. We're talking early in the PDF stage. I had like a couple products out. It wasn't really, it wasn't that great. I remember when I was making like $50 a month. And I was like, this is the best. It never gets better than this. And, that's what it was. It was great. Then we got to like $100 a month. And then in 2003, read this book, read a bunch of other books, started implementing them. Then we went to, by the end of the year, we were at $400 a month. I was like, $400 a month? Holy cow, that's 4 times what I made the year before. Oh my God, this is great. This is so great. Following year, 2004, we followed even more what the book said. We went in there and dug in there and really got even some more good, juicy ideas out of there. We went from $400 a month to $1,600 a month. Now, for all you counting, 2002, $100. 2003, $400. 2004, $1,600. Now, that's a factor of 16. And you can say, realistically, in about 30 months. Imagine what you're making now, and if in 30 months you're making 16 times what you're making. How would that affect your business as a whole? Just something to think about. All right, like I said, pick this book up. It's great. I hear Lucas in the background. He's about to probably come bashing through my door in a second, so let me finish this up. Like I said, this one's about money. Think about the money. Think about what you're going to pay people. Think about how you can do it for less. How can you do more and more? Actually, how can you do more and more for more people and less money? Figure that out, you'll be a success. Talk to y'all later.